the Journalists and Writers Foundation. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen to all of us. My remarks today will focus on one thing only, and that is, how do we design organizations that empower young people to take charge of the things we need to do to achieve the goals we set at these high-level forums. As you've heard, I'm Anil Wasif, a citizen of the world who is in charge of strategy at BacharLorai. BacharLorai is a Bangla word that means strive to survive. Bangla is a language spoken by over 180 million people in Bangladesh and over 20 million members of the Bangladeshi diaspora worldwide. We, the people at BacharLorai, have a mandate to empower these communities across the globe in 3 ways: community building, research publications, and humanitarian work. Community building, which includes events like this one, aligns most strongly with sections 14, 4, and 15, which focus on building international cooperation, fostering youth participation, and creating partnerships. These sections are sections of the Pact of the Future. Policy research aligns with poverty reduction, gender equality, and humanitarian cooperations, which are sections 23, 24, and 57 of the Pact. Signature initiatives finds alignment with sections 15, 23, and 57, which focus on youth leadership, economic opportunities, and humanitarian aid. You will notice that by design, our organization is an advocate for the Pact of the Future. But after attending the summit this past weekend and subsequent meetings at the UNGA, and listening to my distinguished colleagues over the past half an hour, I've also realized that implementing the Pact starts today. Every single project that we launch under the 3 pillars I just talked about are also tied to specific SDGs and the sub-targets that come with them. This not only helps us promote the SDGs, but helps the entire team, including senior members of the board, learn about the SDGs and remember the SDGs in every aspect of our work. Today we're a team of 16 people working from Dhaka, Toronto, New York City, Washington, DC, and London, United Kingdom. Over half the team identify themselves as women, and over 60% are Gen Z. But our work on diversity and inclusion continues every day. Very quickly, this past year, we have successfully delivered 36 youth-led projects, securing over $15,000 in financial support, and volunteering our own time to benefit 1,500 people in different corners of the world, many being Bangladeshis. The academic term for what we do is called digital social innovation. I have written a few articles with my colleagues on it, but to simplify it, what we call it is using technology, like our laptops, to transform youth passion into tangible action on the ground. I'm very happy to say we stand as the only nonprofit organization that actively engages citizens from around the world, just like all of you, to empower Bangladeshis globally, and not just empower them, but enable them to be self-sustainable. We have disrupted the traditional nonprofit space by hosting engaging social events that bridge the gap between having a good time and doing good in this world, channeling input we get from those events, grassroots inputs, into publishing thought-provoking research through our policy research pillar, and then launching humanitarian aid initiatives backed by the evidence produced by our policy research team. It's a simple strategy, but I invite all of you to replicate it. At BacharLorai, youth leadership is at the core of our identity, as the numbers speak. Every event we have hosted, including events we participate in, like the one hosted by JWF yesterday, has featured, or I might even say must feature, a young speaker that can showcase their ideas, initiatives, and solutions. And whether the speakers are on stage or whether it's the folks behind the scenes, every individual continuously should feel like they're contributing to real world change. But how do you do that? The first thing you have to do in all of your organizations is to ensure that young people get maximum visibility and their inputs, whether it's inputs to the United Nations or it's input through organizations like Civicus, are considered seriously. Thus, our talent strategy ensures that young professionals are not only equipped with the tools they need to lead, but they are also active participants in strategic planning for these high-level agendas. We seek input from every staff member on decision-making processes, and we even have full transparency, which, many seasoned organizational leaders might challenge me on this, but I actually think releasing your financial statements, making information accessible to young people actually gets them to see the bigger picture. Why are you sort of earmarking funds for a certain event? Why have you not used it for something else? We need to think about that seriously if we are actually serious about these commitments we're making at these high-level forums. These are some of the strategies that not only enable these young people to learn about processes that you need to know about when you build an organization, but it also educates them on prioritization and resource management. For next year, we're building a people-first strategic plan. This will include channeling input from our public-facing events, the ones we participate in, such as conferences, the passion of the young people at BacharLorai, and the opinions of leaders we meet on the streets of New York City and everywhere across the world. What this is actually doing is it's decentralizing power from my office, allowing each of our 9 program managers to deliver their projects in their ideas with their vision. And it also enables us as an organization to target funding from different revenue sources. Because I can guarantee you the number of sources I have in my mind when designing the strategies is far less than 9 people putting their heads together and thinking about how they can raise funding for their specific projects. So, these are some of the approaches we are using to empower our young leaders to be creative, to be innovative, and accountable for their results. We were born during a pandemic, and we were born as a hashtag, a social movement that was very effective because it just looped together a bunch of individual efforts, like the Me Too movement or the Black Lives Matter movement, and brought them together. But we very quickly realized to attract institutional funding, to gather international support, we need to, register, we need to figure out the bureaucracy part of it. And we realized that we need to figure out sustainability. So today we are focused on creating long-term impact through diversified funding streams, strategic partnerships with governments, nonprofits, and the private sector. And these partnerships are not only enhancing our reach, but they're allowing us to drive systemic change. To close, I want to reiterate that we're the only organization in the Bangladeshi space that channels insights from social events into a structured research agenda. And our ability to translate community input into actionable research that is accessible by young people allows us to not only engage them, but inform policies and decisions at a higher level. Nonprofits face unpredictable challenges as we see elections around the world, conflict around the world, and the sector's resilience has been tested many times. But like Greta said, just because we failed doesn't mean we stop. Whether it was navigating the complexities of the pandemic or adapting to shifting geopolitical landscapes in Bangladesh, we have continuously shown our ability to be agile, and that strength comes from the young members of our team. Today we're more than a nonprofit, we're faster than a charity, and sometimes cooler than a think tank. We're an agency for young leaders to take charge of their future. And we believe decentralizing power and giving power to the youth to do the things that they want will actually help us fill a glaring gap of reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. Yes, we might be not even halfway there, But we were not halfway there with the ozone layer, and within 2 years we got our act together. I request all of you to believe in the power of youth to run your own organizations, and let's see what they do. Thank you.